Hello, my name is Radim Hladík. I'm from the Institute of Philosophy of the Czech Academy of Sciences, and right now I'm talking with Sarah, and I'm talking from Trier University, where I'm working on my project for the CLS infrastructure. And the project is entitled Sprint for Fair Data Development of Features for Data Exchange and Publication in Research Software and Qualitative Data Analysis. So in terms of background in computational methods, I've actually started with a very different kind of research projects in sociology, which were based more on interpretative approaches and document analysis. So actually zero background in terms of computational science, computer science, or anything like that. But there was a point in my career where I sort of discovered these methods, and I thought, this would be something interesting for me to try as well. And after, giving it some time to think and ponder over, I entered an introductory course on computational linguistics. And I started to learn and started to work. So I'm at this point completely self-taught in this area, but it's exciting. So I must absolutely recommend it. And if you started with non-computational methods, you might feel a bit challenged to try to go in this direction. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's absolutely rewarding experience. And I think it's actually to the advantage if you have started with some other kind of expertise, because then if you can combine your sort of two strengths together, I think it makes for better research for sure. Computational linguistics was a new field for me, and I didn't really stay in it for too long. I'm moving more to sociological applications, but it was a good start to get introduced to programming and working with research software and starting to develop your own analytical scripts. So I just started in that field, and what I've learned there, I took it elsewhere. I self studied a lot, and then I ended up doing a postdoc in Japan under Professor Kitamoto at the National Institute of Informatics. So I guess I always tend to think of that postdoc experience as my second doctorate, actually, rather than a true postdoc experience, because there I was really working with people who are software engineers and computational scientists. And so, of course, I wasn't at their level, but just being exposed to how they work and learning from them and having this experience, I think, has helped to establish myself as a computational scholar too. Well, there is a advice that I've actually heard before, and so I'm just gonna repeat it. But it is if you do this, if you try to shift your career, if you try to move into this research area, I think it really helps if you have a project in mind. You already have a question where you think, oh, I could use computational methods. I just don't know how. So when you actually have that project that drives you and you just learn the things you need for the next step, and so slowly you proceed and finally you see some results, and that motivates you to go further. So that's definitely advice that has worked in my case, and I've heard it repeated many times over. Another thing that I've learned working in the computational field is it's good to collaborate. And sometimes, when you're traditional humanities scholar or social scientist, you often used to working on your own. But in my experience, once you expand to these computational methods, new possibilities of collaboration open up, really, because people can bring different expertise, work on different parts of code. And if you truly work with computational engineers, like most of their job is actually collaborative. Like nobody is an expert on everything. So this kind of research really lends itself to collaboration, and it's actually great if you find somebody who is more experienced. He or she can be a computer scientist or just a computational humanist or a computational social scientist. You can learn a lot from them, just like working with them and just observe how they do things, and that will definitely help. So the first time I've heard of CLS Infra was, I think that must have been the first year when the project started, or this program of transnational access fellowships were launched. And that's because in the Czech Republic, there's the Charles University is partner in the project, and we have an association for digital humanities, of which I'm a member. So I saw the call circulating, but not doing computational literary research myself. I thought it's perhaps not the program for me. But last year, actually, when another call was issued, and I actually went and checked out the website, and I found Trier there, and the University of Trier, they actually list support for research software development. So I said, wait a minute, that's something that I do as well. That's my little pet project or side project. And yeah, and that's, I thought, okay, this is actually good. I know Christoph Schä, who is a professor here, and I know his work on reproducibility, which is something that also touches upon my work as well. So all the dots connected, and you know, if you look at the University of Trier's website on the Center for Digital Humanities, they do actually a lot of work in research software development. So there's an immense amount of expertise here in Trier in that area. And just, you know, walking on the corridors, like behind me, there are posters celebrating 25 years of TCDH. And so that's truly some heritage they already got here in terms of digital humanities. So that's how I found out. Yeah, so my research project in Trier is focused on developing an application you know, that can be used by social scientists and the humanities, and it's basically used to annotate text and retrieve the coded segments. It's in the family of open source software for qualitative data analysis. And it looks something like this. What I'm showing you right now is just my development version. So there are probably like broken things, but just to give an idea, it's basically you set up your project, you have your data with your documents. We have attributes where we observe the attributes actually of coders, but that's a discussion for another time. Then you set up your code book, and then you go to your annotation screen where you can annotate things, and then you can retrieve it in your analysis screen. So this is the project I'm working on, and an important thing that we were thinking about also with my colleagues, as I said, you know, this kind of work is often collaborative, so there's more people contributing to this project, is that we would like to make this software more suitable for data exchange and data sharing. So this is what I'm doing here right now. There is a standard, an XML standard for file exchange, and it allows you to import and export projects between different kind of softwares, and we didn't have that capacity yet. So what I'm doing here right now is I'm trying to parse these files which were saved in this format and try to get them inside our program, so you can analyze your data using our program. And if you want, you should be also able to export your data, move them into different kind of software, or possibly deposit them in some repository for storage and archival, and hopefully reuse. So another thing we're thinking about with this software is to support people to de-identify data sets. So let's say you work locally, you have some sort of sensitive information in your data. And what we try to do is give you a possibility of a special kind of annotation that will not be rendered when you export the data. So if you decide to archive them, you can do so publicly with the private information being removed. The next steps for the project are to keep developing the features that we have, add new features, but we also need to think big, I think, and especially in this area of data sharing and providing services. So I guess the most difficult thing will be to find long-term support for the project, perhaps European level funding that would allow us to serve the software as a service, because not everybody is able necessarily to self-host these things for collaboration. And yeah, I think also we should publish something about that software, so researchers actually get peer-reviewed guidance on how to use it and how to think about the issues of data analysis in terms of reproducibility in the framework of the research software that we use.